Well, friends, I would like to welcome you to our very first public speaking school for this year. Ms. Lucas's class and Ms. Marion's class did wonderful. I really enjoyed their parts. I know that we are going to end the day with some great parts being given. We, in doing this public speaking school, we are engaging in something that I will tell you is more important than anything else that I could do for you in terms of being your teacher. This is the most important thing that I can do. Public speaking school takes precedence even over History Mania, even over all the tests and quizzes that I give you. This is going to help you even as an adult. So I'm very happy to be able to have this very first public speaking school. So let me give you a rundown of the program that we're going to have today. We will be doing our treasures from history, and our very first student speaker will be handling the public talk for us, the leaders of the Constitutional Convention. That will be given by our dear friend Tom DeBone. Our next part, digging for historical gems, where you all as a class get a chance to have your own input and give your own great gems that you found, that you uncovered this week from your reading. That part will be handled or conducted by our dear friend Amy Venable. And last but certainly not least, our historical reading taken from page 304 will be handled for us by our dear friend Joshua Fairchild. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to invite up our first student speaker for this evening, handling the public talk, the leaders of the Constitutional Convention. Let's invite up Mr. Tom DeBone.
Please turn with me to page 302 and follow along as I read paragraph 2. In spring of 1787, 55 delegates traveled to Philadelphia. Remember that delegates are chosen to speak for others or represent them. The delegates came from every state except Rhode Island. They met to discuss how to change the Articles of Confederation. Their meeting has become known as the Constitutional Convention. The Constitutional Convention took place in spring of 1787, and 55 delegates traveled to Philadelphia. Look at page 303 and follow as I read it. James Madison of Virginia arrived before the other delegates. He was a member of Congress. Madison wanted to do more than change the Articles of Confederation. He had a plan for a new system of the government. Through the convention, Madison took notes. Thanks to these notes, we know much of what people thought and did. Benjamin Franklin, representing Pennsylvania, was respected for all of his wisdom. He had served the United States of America for many years. George Washington was important because he came as another Virginia delegate, ringing bells and cheering crowds greeted him in Philadelphia. Spring of 1787, 55 delegates traveled to Philadelphia. Remember that delegates are chosen to speak for others or represent them. The delegates came from every state except Rhode met to discuss how to change the Articles of Confederation. Their meeting has become known as the Constitutional Convention.
Tommy, we really enjoyed your part. We see how seriously you took your assignment. Your assignment was very strong in how you delivered it. You came up here, you went from Tommy Dubone to Mr. Dubone, and how you projected out to the audience. That's one thing that I took notes on that I really loved, was your modulation. You came up here, it was very easy to hear you. Your information was very spot on. You made sure to cover all the notes that I had given you ahead of your talk. You made sure to share your information in a way that was easy and simple for us all to understand. The audience could follow along. It was a very well-rounded talk. One other thing that I noticed that stood out about you was how well you're dressed. I mean, my goodness, buddy, you came in sharp. I really appreciate that, because it shows how seriously you took your assignment. And lastly, like I mentioned before, your speech was very powerful. It was very, you came up here and it didn't seem like you were nervous. Now, you may have been, but it did not come off that way to me. And the counts point that you were working on was to have fluent delivery. And so to have fluent delivery, it says to read and speak in such a manner that your words and thoughts flow smoothly. As you were giving your talk, you did not have any long pauses. It didn't seem like you were searching for words, that you didn't know what you were going to say. You came up here, you knew what you were going to say, and you delivered it in a very, very well done manner. Lastly, I like how you closed it. You opened up talking about the 55 delegates meeting for the convention, and then you closed going back to your opening, talking about what the Constitutional Convention was. That is a key aspect of teaching that I learned in college, which is what I do with you all now, which is we start the lesson talking about something, we have that period where I give information, and then we end the lesson going back to that first point that was brought up. So I really, really enjoyed your assignment, and I can't wait until you have another one, but you got to get other students in our public speaking school. So let's give one round of applause to Tom Dubone. For our next, it's like, oh, my back is hurting me. Do you know why my back is hurting? As it is, God. Because all week, friends, all week, I have been digging. Do you get it? Digging for historical. Okay, let's move on. So, this is the part where you all, as an audience, get a chance to get your turn to eat, your turn to feed, your turn to dine and feast upon this great food that we have been given this week through our reading. And the chef, the one to give us this meal, is our dear friend, our dear Shimai, Amy-chan. Let's invite up our second student speaker, Amy Venable, to cover our Digging for Historical Gems part.
Hello. May I get a reader for page 304, paragraph 5? Patrick. Roger Sherman, conflict came up. He suggested dividing Congress into 2 parts or houses. Each state would have an equal number of representatives in one house. The Senate, the number of representatives each state sent the other House of Representatives would depend on its population. Sherman's suggestion is called the Great Compromise. In the compromise, both sides give something to settle a disagreement. intelligence accepted his compromise and moved to the other topics. Thank you for your reading, Patrick. From that paragraph, what did the delegates do to solve the problem of how many representatives each state could have? Lois.
They had the great compromise that split Congress in half, the House of Representatives and the House of the Senate.
Thank you very much for your answer. Would anybody else like to share? Gabby.
They chose to have a representatives for the number of people in any state.
Thank you for your answer. My answer was that he suggested dividing Congress into two parts, or houses. Each state would have an equal number of representatives. In one house, the Senate, the number of representatives each state sent into other houses or representatives would depend on its population. Now, may I get a reader for paragraph 3, page 306? Tim.
Federalists had to teach the public about the Constitution. To do this, Madison and two other Federalists, Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, wrote a series called The Federalist. These essays explained how the federal system will work and why the new nation needed to succeed. They said that the United States needed a strong central government and one that would be created by the Constitution.
Thank you for your answer. Would anybody else like to share? Margot.
I think that it's good to teach people about the Constitution and that it's like, no, it was made out of 85 articles and essays.
Okay. Why did Madison, Hamilton, and Jay write the Federalist? Fatila Chan.
Federalists had to teach the public about the Constitution. To do this, two other Federalists, Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, wrote a series of essays called Federalist. These essays explained how the federal system would work and why the new nation needed it to succeed. They said that the United States needed a strong central government like the one that would be created by the Constitution.
Thank you for your answer. That was very nice. My answer was that they said the United States needed a strong central government like the one that would be created by the Constitution. Now, can someone tell me, what does this week's reading teach me about history? Gotta.
It teaches me about the Constitution.
Thank you. Anybody else?
It teaches me that 9 states had the ratified Constitution, that George Washington and Benjamin Franklin were important parts of the Constitution. Also, I did that was the right for us.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to share? Harry.
They taught me about the Federalists.
Thank you. I thought that this week's reading taught me about how the Constitution got split into two parts, the House of Representatives and the Senate. I see how important it is because Congress is still like that today. Now, the last question. May I get a reader for page 304, paragraph 5? Fazila.
Roger Sherman of came up with a solution. He suggested dividing Congress into two to teach someone about this topic? Katie.
Information about the Federalists and things to teach somebody else about what the Articles of Confederation was and how it got ratified.
Thank you for your answer. Would anybody else answer? Aiden.
This reading will teach me about women who I will teach students about the 5 rule, which is 5 slaves and free.
Thank you. Mine was that I think this week's reading taught me about how the Constitution got split into 2 parts or houses.
Emmy time. That was extremely, and when I say extremely, I mean extremely well done. Very, very well done part. I loved how you gave commendation to each person who commented. That helps to make a person feel special. When you acknowledge their answer, when you say, I enjoyed your comment, thank you for your reading, it makes the person see that the hard work that they put in throughout the week, especially that we put in here trying to do that center, it meant something. It was worth something. It was worth their time. Just by you giving them that reassurance, it's very important. I also like how after each response, your own answers that you gave were very detailed. I saw evidence that you took your part very seriously in that you tried to give something extra whenever you would answer the question. Try and put something extra that you had not heard in some responses. And I do have to give some credit to the audience as well. Okay. I do have to give credit to the audience as well. I pointed out some comments that I heard that were very good. Sorry if I didn't get them all, but I was over there taking notes. I loved Margot's comment that she had. Another very detailed comment that I could tell was outside research, not necessarily something that you would see in the book. Fazira Chan's comment was also very detailed, very spot on, very insightful. And so was Hudson's comment. Now what that shows as an audience is that as an audience, you all, and there were more great comments that I heard. As an audience, you all took advantage of this part. You all said, hey, I love the whole excitement around public speaking school, but I'm not going to let only Tommy, Emmy, and Joshua be stars during public speaking school. I want to be a star too. I want to eat too. I want food too. And you guys came and y'all ate. All of you did. I saw the participation. I was very happy to see that. Going back to Emmy-chan, the one thing that I enjoyed about your talk was how serious you took it. It's just like what I told you yesterday. You're usually a very joyful, kind of clumsy little child, but always very happy. When you came up here, you went from Emmy-chan, just like how Tommy went, was Mr. DeBone, came up here and you were Miss Venable. I was like, oh my God, maybe I need to raise my hand too before I get some dojos taken away from me. I mean, you were serious. And that's good, because being serious shows the dignity, the importance that you give to the part. You know, all of you all took this very seriously, because I see how you all came dressed today. Another point that I want to bring out about her talk is I like how she said how the Great Compromise even affects Congress today. That's a great point, because that's why we learned history. And last but not least, her counterpoint was visual contact. And it says to look at those to whom you are speaking, allowing your eyes to meet for a few seconds. See individuals, not the whole group. When she was calling on certain people, it seemed to me that it was just Emmy and whoever she called on. She didn't just, oh, anybody can go ahead and answer. She made it seem like it was just you and her in the room, and she made you feel special because of the commendation that she gave after the comments, and then looking at you as she decided that it was your turn to comment. So, Emmy, we thank you. You have given us the role model for how to conduct this assignment. Timing, 7 minutes and 47 seconds. Subarashi desu ne. Incredible. It's an 8-minute part. She had 13 seconds. Wonderful. Wonderful. So friends, it seems like we just got started and now we're already at the end. And I'm sad. But I know that we're going to end it with a wonderful, wonderful assignment. I can only think of one person when I decided who was going to be on the first public speaking school to give our first historical reading. So let's all take our books, please, and turn to page 304. Handling our historical reading for us will be our dear friend, our Kyodai, Joshua Fairchild.
Washington as president of convention. They also agreed to keep their debate secret. This allowed them to talk openly with each other without being influenced by people who were not a part of the convention. On May 29th, Edmund Randolph, governor of Virginia, described Madison's plan for the new government. This plan, known as the Virginia Plan, was called for a federal system which the national government had 3 parts or branches. Many state governments were already set up this way. One branch, the Congress, would make the laws for the nation. Another branch would carry out the laws. Yet another branch, the courts, would settle the legal arguments. The delegates accepted most of the Virginia plan, but many did not like one part of it. Madison has suggested that the number of each state's representatives in a Congress be based on the state population. Large states would get more votes in Congress than smaller states. The small states did not like this plan, give more power to the large states. The delegates sent from the small states created the New Jersey Plan, like the Articles of Confederation. This plan gave each state 1 vote, so that the smaller states would have just as much power as the larger states. The delegates argued bitterly about these plans. Roger Sherman of Connecticut came up with a solution. He suggested dividing up Congress into 2 parts or houses. Each state would have an equal number of representatives in one house, the Senate. The number of representatives in each state sent to the other house, the House of Representatives, would depend on its population. Sherman's suggestion is called the Great Compromise. In a compromise, both sides give up something to settle a disagreement. The delegates accepted this compromise and moved on to other topics. Another problem delegates argued about was slavery. Southern states wanted slaves to count as part of a state's population. Counting the enslaved people would have given their states more representatives in Congress. Other delegates said this was unfair because slaves were treated as property, not citizens. Delegates also argued about whether to end the practice of bringing slaves to the United States. Delegates from the southern states said that they would not accept the new government unless the slave trade continued. Arguments over slavery led to another compromise, the 3/5 rule. This rule counted 5 slaves as 3 free people. The slave trade was also allowed to continue until 1808. Although some state delegates disliked this compromise, wanted to end slavery, they agreed to let it continue so that all the states would support the Constitution.
Joshua Fairchild. Man, oh man. When I tell you I enjoyed your reading, I enjoyed your reading. A couple of notes that I took while you were doing your reading. Instantly, as soon as you started, I saw how comfortable you were up here during your reading. You were very laid back. You gave your assignment with, you had some hand gestures as you were reading. You were comfortable. By doing those hand gestures and having that certain type of style as you read, it showed the emotion, the way that you wanted to get across the information. Because this reading, it's not really one that you can really get into and get excited about or get enthusiastic about. You're sharing information. The way you shared it was in a very relaxed manner, in a manner that doesn't make people uncomfortable. Since you were comfortable, I was comfortable. The audience was comfortable. It's very easy to follow along. Also, within your reading, I like the emphasis that you placed on certain words. When you got to certain subjects like slavery, for example, your tone got a little bit more serious. But then when you were talking about the Great Compromise, it was a little bit more laid back. And you think slavery is something very hard, very difficult, very emotional. But a compromise is an agreement to where you work with someone. The way you read it showed the definition of the word almost. And that's a very, very great skill when it comes to reading, because not everybody has that. Lastly, your reading was smooth and relaxed. I love how you paused and took your time as you read. Your timing was about 3 minutes and 49 seconds. And it's a 4-minute part. Once again, wonderful timing. Wonderful timing. And your counsel point that you were going over was accurate reading. So what do we need to do to be accurate readers? Read aloud exactly what is on the printed page. Do not skip words, ignore parts of words, or exchange one word for another. Pronounce words correctly. You exemplified that point as you gave your part. So I am very pleased with how you delivered that. And I think that you, as well as our other 2 student speakers, deserve a big round of applause. So friends, that will bring our very first public speaking school to a close. I am highly impressed. I am very thankful. I am truly happy of what I saw today, not only from my class, but from Miss Lucas's and Miss Merrigan's class as well. You guys as a grade blew it out of the water. I mean, I am shocked that it is this good, and I know that it can only get better, and I'm kind of scared at what better looks like, because today was amongst the best that I've seen, and I've been doing this for about 2 years now. So I thank you all. My Hawks will assemble and give our speakers here $200. My audience, for doing so well during digging for historical gems, will receive $100. And I think we all know that since we all did so great at public speaking school, and we did so wonderful on all of our assignments, whether you guys were doing digging or you guys were giving parts like our 3 up here, you guys have changed the time. You have made this time a very special, special time. it.